like. When I met him 7 years ago, all of my doubts were confirmed. He looks nothing like me.
All of Terry's kids are smart, hardworking, and ambitious. Mike is a slob and a loser who can't even keep a job at 46 years old. When we prove that Terry is not Mike's father, he and Sarah can find someone else to live off of.
Okay. So certain he's not yours. Why?
It was 15 months from the last time I even seen his mother.
Right.
Until he was born.
Uh-huh. So
somehow that doesn't work.
That would set a record, right?
That's kind of my thought.
Yeah. By the way, what did his wife tell you?
They came over for a weekend visit.
Right.
And they stood in the hallway of my house, Mike in the front, and Sarah informed me that when Terry passes away, I need to pack my bags because they were taking my house and my truck.
Okay.
I'm sorry, if that's not gold digging, I don't know what is.
Let's go way back. You admit that you and his mother were together?
For 3 weeks.
3 weeks. But here's what happened. I guess you were, like 16 years old, something like that?
Exactly.
16 years old when you were seeing her for those 3 weeks, right?
Yes, I was 16. She was 18.
Right. And so then when you became 18, what happened?
I was told that I had to sign a paper or go to jail.
Oh, because they were saying that you were the father of this child.
Correct.
Right.
And at 18 years old, I don't know the law.
You know about jail.
I'm scared. I know about jail.
Right.
I don't want no part of that.
Right.
But prior to that, another family member was accused of being the father and refused to go to court, so now we land on
So
Terry.
here's what happened. You signed the piece of paper. So would I, by the way. I ain't going to jail for that.
Exactly.
You signed the paper. The problem is that paper obligated you to pay child support. You've paid $10,000 in legal fees trying to undo that piece of paper.
Over 10,000.
Right. And $70,000 in child support.
Exactly. You know, I supported somebody else's kid.
How long ago was the first time you saw him?
About 5 years ago,
About 5,
give or
6
take.
years ago, yes.
Okay. You see him for the first time. What do you think?
Well, we met up at a fair thing. They were playing music, stuff like that. Walked around looking for him, and I couldn't find him. Well, come to find out, I walked right past him twice. I had no clue it was him.
So when I put up his picture and I put up your picture, I'm not seeing any.
Put him up there. Look,
What
do you
similarities are
see?
here?
Do you see anything?
There's nothing here.
That's resemblable.
There's nothing here.
You have other children, right?
Yes.
You have other children, and your son TJ is here, right?
Exactly, yes.
Does he feel a connection to Mike?
No.
Zero.
No.
He
Zero.
doesn't think that Mike is his brother.
Look at this.
If you put a picture
Now
of
put up
TJ...
a picture of Michael next to him.
There's nothing. Terry and TJ look identical. Identical.
Do you think they're stalking you? Why are you laughing?
It's absolutely true.
You think so?
Oh, yes,
And
I
they're
do.
after money.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So for the stalking, they call and call and call and call and call. For instance, one of my friends' daughters passed away tragically. I worked third shift at that time. I went to work. We went to the funeral. 20 phone calls in 5 minutes. I kept on ignoring them. So what do? They call from a number we don't know, and I answer the phone. Unless you're dead, I don't want to hear from you.
So we're going to meet Sarah and Mike, but before we bring them out, here's what their story is like.
My whole life, my mom always told me that Terry was my father. He's the one that actually found me 7 years ago. The first time I met him, I knew he was my father. We had a really strong connection. That's why it hurts when he doubts me.
My heart breaks because my husband grew up without a dad. Terry was accepting of Mike when they first met. But now Michelle is brainwashing him into thinking he is not Mike's father.
Michelle also got his son TJ believing it now.
These people should be ashamed of themselves. When the DNA comes back saying that Terry is the father, Michelle better back off and let Terry be a father to his son.
Wow. Mike and Sarah, here they are. seat right here.
You want to get in
Sit
my
right
face
here.
and you call yourself a man? You're nothing but more than a child. What are you?
Hold on. Mike, they think you're using them.
Why would I be using them?
I don't-
You have no reason to be using them.
Really? Do you ask them for money?
No, I have never asked either one of these two for money.
Right.
Yeah, maybe once in a while I ask him for help on a Vilker or something, but most of the time, he makes me do all the damn work.
So Sarah, nice to see you. You ever tell Michelle that she's out when he dies and you're
No,
moving in?
I didn't.
No?
No.
Really? You stood in my hallway and told me that with Mike in front of you. I turned and looked at Terry and he shook his head and gave me permission to go off on you, which is what I did.
I
So now-
never said that to you in your house.
Yes, you
Never
did.
said. No, I didn't.
Yes, because that's that.
No, I didn't.
Really? Then why do you call Terry and say, is Michelle awake? That's the reason why you two are not welcome in my house, is because of what you said.
We called to talk to Terry because that's Mike's father.
Nice try. Keep looking.
Okay. So Mike, it was tough growing up without a father, right?
Right.
It was. And what did your mother tell you?
My mother always told me that Terry was my father from the time I was born.
You think you look like him?
Yes.
You do.
You're named after another family member, and you think he's your dad?
Did you have a connection when you saw him for the first time at the fair?
Yes, I did.
He says he walked past you twice, didn't recognize you.
Because he never came around. He really didn't look hard enough.
I was
out
never
there.
allowed to come around.
I know, it was not my fault.
I was
My
thrown
family
off
was
your,
the one
I
who
was
always
thrown off your
taking
mother's property.
Sarah, you think Terry would accept Mike as his child if it wasn't for Michelle?
I think so. I think a whole lot. Because he was very accepting of Mike in the beginning.
And then what happened?
And then when Shell came back into the picture, it started pulling away. He started pulling away.
Right.
Because Michelle stood up for him. I gave him the confidence to accept the truth.
It was Terry that seeked Mike out.
Hey,
Mike wasn't even
if you
trying
have a
to find
child
him.
out there that you assume is yours,